Well, if you're going to pay somebody, it might as well be Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs did just that today. And, oh, boy, it's going to be a big one. What the replications of, we don't know exactly, but Patrick Mahomes got a big chunk back, and I think it's going to set this roster up for what it's going to become pretty dang well. Hope you guys are excited. They're coming off of a win. It's Monday Night Football. We're going to hang out. We'll talk about some of that. We'll talk about Patrick Mahomes. And this is your show. We're answering your questions. He's Daniel Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Welcome to RGR Football. We appreciate you guys being here. Daniel, we got a lot to talk about, but how you feeling about this deal, man?
It has been an absolute day on the old Twitter and how everything's been dropping. Lots of good news. I'm feeling good about the contract. I know that this was something that a lot of people have alluded to over the past couple of years, that this payday was always coming for Patrick. That's the reason the contract was written the way that it was to set up for, well, we know that other quarterbacks are going to get paid, and this will allow us, the team that is, to make some adjustments as they go along. They're able to move money around from whichever year they want to, and now it almost sets up as a 4-year contract until 2026 when it will be reevaluated. So at the end of the day, we know Patrick isn't going anywhere. Like, that's not when he took that 10-year contract, that was confirmation. He doesn't ever want to play anywhere else. He wants to stay here his entire career. And because he took that contract, knowing that it was going to be team friendly, we can assume he's going to do the same when he's 31 years old, 4 years from now.
I have to think so. The ramifications are kind of all over the place, and I have a couple of tinfoil secrets we're going to talk about tonight.
Nice,
because there's a lot underneath that cap. But if I was betting, I'd be betting on him to set himself up to have the roster that he needs to get something done. And if you want to bet, you got to hop over there and help out our friends DraftKings with that code RGR, because right now we're back and it's another week of football. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in the NFL action, and you can join it as well with great offers every single game. And new customers right now, they get bet $5, you get $150 instantly in bonus bets, just like that. Once you make that bet, throw $5 down on any particular matchup this week, the epic ones or the easy ones, whichever you want, and you can walk away an instant winner. They aren't stopping there either. It's all customers, because even the ones that are there, you can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game in September. Football's more fun when you're in on that action, especially if your team's not playing that day. So download the app right now. It's at DraftKings and sign up with the code RGR. You can see it here below me. You do that. You make a $5 bet. You get $150 in bonus bets applied instantly to your account. You can run from there, and believe me, you will run from there because there's a lot of action going on there. So it's only over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. With that code, RGR, you got to use our code to get that deal. The crown's yours. You just got to go take it. If you have a gambling problem, check out 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. It's easy to remember that way. In New York, call 1-877-8-POHENY or text POHENY. Or HOPENY. That's the way it should be. That's 467-369 in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling at 1-888-789-777. You can visit cccpg.org to get more help there. Please play responsibly. This is on behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensee under the Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. 21 plus, varies age by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See your sportsbook and all the DraftKings at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football for terms, eligibility, all the responsibility things that you need to get yourself in the action. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. So please, eligibility and restrictions on the deposits do apply. So with that said, you help them, they help us. It's a nice way to go around it. If you're betting on Patrick to have like the number 5 contract, you're probably ahead of the game right now. And I know there's some crazy props out there, but I didn't see this deal coming right now, especially given all this turmoil. So if we take our hats off and look backwards, what was this leading up to all summer with this negotiation with Chris and what they needed to get done with Patrick? Does that shed new light on where you're seeing it?
I think that this just frees up anything else that they needed to get done. Like it paves a path for them to see, okay, we now know what the money is going to kind of look like for this offseason going forward. Are they going to be able to get a deal done with Chris? That's probably first thing on the menu. And I would imagine contract talks for that should resume relatively soon. I would imagine after his game on Sunday that whatever goes on negotiation process would be like, hey, well, look what just happened. For one of the best offenses in the NFL, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence had maybe his worst efficiency, from an efficiency standpoint, the worst performance he's had in his NFL career. What does that say? I mean, yes, Chris Jones was a big part of that. The defense in and of itself was a huge part of that. But Chris Jones was really at the center fold of that. And he did prove to everyone he didn't need training camp, didn't need any of it. He was prepared to sit out as long as it took. And whenever he got back on the field, he was ready to come out and play. And boy, did he come out and play. So there's some negotiation stuff that might end up happening based off of the performance. But I think that this contract came now, this restructure came now to give them a path, just to say we now have money set here. We have money here. We have an idea of what this is going to look like for the offseason.
I'm really intrigued to see the structure of it. We're going to get details likely tonight or tomorrow. We'll have more for you later this week, so check it out. Jeremy, thank you for this, because the formula, it has a tendency to work, so we very much appreciate you recognizing that. Thanks for your support. Every Super Chat gets an answer tonight. We have a couple already in the queue, as well as a bunch of your questions. Now, we're going to address the topics, not necessarily everybody's single question. We're going to get to everybody's kind of thoughts, really. And we'll do that throughout the night, but you guys are running this show. So if you want on the show, hit that Super Chat, help us out. We appreciate your support. You can check out the gear, my hat, his hat. You can get the Chiefs Kingdom stuff, all kinds of stuff over at the store. That always helps us as well. And we do appreciate your support, because I know this seems like it's super easy. We're just sitting back, talking. But the volume of research that goes into this every single day and every single week, you guys would not fathom. Believe me, it is crazy what we do. So we're going to start off hot with Micah. He said, "Sup? What do you see on the O-line, on the all-22, that in terms of the running backs, seeming like they're only getting 0 to 2 yards gain each carry? Where have you taken a look at the O-line so far from Jacksonville? Because I have not."
Yeah, I've only got to the defense so far. That's what we're going to focus on for Wednesday. We're going to do a new breakdown this week. It's just breaking down an entire drive. So we're taking one entire drive from the Jacksonville Jaguars offense against the Chiefs defense. We're going to break the whole thing down the nuts and bolts, and that should give you guys a good idea of what they're doing, and not just taking clips here and clips here. It's just one whole drive. What works, what doesn't work, and showing you how they adjust. So that's what we're doing. And then based off of what I saw from Sunday and the week before, I mean, they're not getting into a rhythm. The biggest thing that a run game needs is consistency. Being able to, right? It's funny how if you're only pass setting, how getting off the ball, getting downhill in your run blocks can sometimes not work right. And they came out, and then the best run play they had in the entire game was right out of halftime. You think that was a coincidence? I don't think it was a coincidence at all. I think they had it all set up, and they were like, all right, we're going to do this right out of the half. And guess what? They executed, and it worked. Outside of that, I mean, you had the draw play, which was excellent. And again, more, please. But again, you had 4 or 5 rushes in the first half of the game. Your offensive line is not going to be able to get into a rhythm. They're not going to be able to get the run game going with that level of decommitment to actually doing it. It's just a problem.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I felt they could hit that big run is because they came out and ran zone. A, it's their bread and butter, but B, it's one that doesn't require that small car crash every single play. It's about using their athleticism. So when they run that play in particular, which they run a ton, it's because they're looking for that crease. And so if they get off the ball well, they can do that. When it's crammed down and the box is filled and it's man-on-man in the gaps, that's where the 1 to 2 yards of carry gets a little bit tough, because they have to stay lower and they have to come off the ball better. And that's not what this team is built to do. It's built to be a finesse team that pass blocks first. I think we see that every week, as much as we don't want to. But when they get their dander up, they can get after it. It's getting to that point, I think. And I'm all for throwing fresh meat to the dogs every now and then. But this is, I believe, a more cerebral group of offensive linemen than, say, you have in Dallas, or some of the more aggressive teams that are more downhill oriented. So I think you have to keep in mind who you're playing as well.
I'm with you there. Just I think it'll get better as the season goes along and the tackles get more consistent with it. But you have new tackles in a zone scheme and a new offense. You're not running the ball enough. How do you expect them to get better at it too? Like that's a big problem too.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nice to see you, Dan. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Back to Micah's next question. Oh, sorry, I jumped one too many. Would you guys draft Travis Hunter or Mizzou's Burden if you had the opportunity? My only comment will be Travis Hunter. Like I think he showed from this last weekend that was a hard hit, but
Yeah.
it wasn't outlandish in my opinion. I don't think it was crazy. Like I worry about his ability to sustain playing both ways, 100+ snaps a week for an entire season. Let's see what kind of shape he's in and how long he lasts at that.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk about a lacerated kidney with him right now, which is not great. And
Nope.
honestly, you're playing defensive back and wide receiver in college. That's not a success. That's not a great success trend, in my opinion. You need to be focused on one thing in college, getting better at one thing to translate to the NFL. If there's one thing that we know, it's that the team is going to draft this player and then not worry about what he does now, but try to make them do what they want him to. Okay.
Yeah.
So these players are not being developed. Okay. Like in the sense of playing the wide receiver position. They're being asked to do what the offense needs them to do. And so when you're not developing the basics, at a microscopic level, at the college level, at playing wide receiver, that's my hesitancy. I don't think I would personally do that. And Burden is an electric player, but he's tiny. He's tiny. Like I don't know. He's like a pencil. I feel like I could put my hands around him. Like he's a small guy. Not that I wouldn't draft anybody like that personally. I need to see him take some hits. I need to see him take some hits.
And this is the difference between watching the results of what somebody can do at the college level and a scout's eye to how can I get him to the next level? How can he produce for me in the NFL? And that's the only difference. It's not to gouge these players. It's that there are some serious questions about what they're going to be able to do when they get to the NFL level. So Micah's next question, does Mahomes' new restructure of $52 million a year give us cap room or eat up cap room? And the answer is yes. They've taken the contract. They've taken the contract. They didn't add years. They didn't subtract years. They've moved the money down to where it's coming soon, right? But what does that also do? What have we learned about this contract? Until I know different details, I'm going to tell you what my theory is. They restructured it so there's more money soon, right? As I understand, it's still in roster bonuses, which means they can go and recoup that whenever they want. Yeah. And so for me, it went from being able to get 20 to 25 million back every year for the cap. Now they're going to get 40 to 45 million back per year for the cap. He's going to make every dollar on that contract. He ain't going anywhere. So it really doesn't matter. You're just moving the chess pieces around depending on what else you need to get done. To me, this feels like preparation for trying to get Chris under contract.
That's exactly what this feels like to me. And again, when the details come out, we'll have more confirmation. But to Ryan's point, we don't really know right now what the roster bonuses are going to be, how this is constructed on its face, because the contract in and of itself was so unique. It was, I am not by any way, shape, or form qualified to read and understand how that contract was written. Okay. I'm not. So before I make some claims about this contract, I will wait until the professionals break it down. And then I will give that information to you guys, because that's what we do when we have things that we don't understand.
I mean, let's be real. Brad Tillis is Harry Potter of contract negotiation. I don't know what the heck he's doing. And until I see it on paper, he'll probably still have to explain it to me, to tell you the truth. So it is what it is. But there's a number of ways. The quote that, the cap doesn't really exist, that's because there are a lot of ways to get around a lot of the clauses that are really important. So let's wait to see what it looks like. Chad, thank you. Do you think the Chiefs will make any moves now they got Chris and Patrick Steele out of the way? They don't have Chris out of the way, really. It's a temporary, right? They could do the contract next year. They could do a tag next year. Either is going to cost them about the same upfront money is my guess. But that doesn't mean that it's done. So it doesn't feel like it's anything like pertinent, like right now. Like I know somebody's going to ask, so I'll just say it now. I don't think they're going to get Mike Evans or anything like that. This didn't create that much space. There's only $5 million in cap space right now. So that's just operating capital for your weekly elevations from the practice squad where you got to up their pay for that week. That costs money. If you have somebody go to IR, you got to sign their replacement. That costs money. So like the 5 to 8 million is just to get through the season, in my opinion.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that the point you made about elevations, most people don't know that. Like most fans probably wouldn't know that when you bring up a guy from the practice squad, you have to pay them a little bit more to be on the active roster for that week, even if they're an inactive player. That all of that adds up. So you have to have operating costs. You have to be able to make some moves if you have to. Say something happens, I'm not going to actually say anything because I don't want to put that out there. Don't. I just won't say anything, but I'm just letting you know if something were to happen, you need to have money to make something happen. Dalton Reisner was just signed to the Minnesota Vikings on a 1-year, $4 million contract deal. That stuff because they absolutely needed an offensive lineman. But you can't do that if you have no room to do any of that. Right. So they need to be able to have some room to work, make some additions if they have to. I know people are going to talk about Carlos Dunlap. And after watching the defense, watching somebody who we are going to talk about, I have clips to show you guys for this. I don't think they need it. Oh,
you're that comfortable, huh? See, folks, we don't plan the show so much as what we're going to say. We talk about, hey, we're going to have to go here. I don't know what he's going to say. So hold tight. We're going to get to it, but I'm ready for some entertainment myself. So, hey, Donnie, thank you for the support. We appreciate you, my friend, as always. Hello, Mr. Sir. One of my favorite plays yesterday was when we had 300 people sack Lawrence while Chris wasn't on the field. Why did that happen? If it's the play that I remember, I will tell you this. They got off the ball well. I think it was Dana that made the initial push because he was lower than the guard that he was playing against. And from what I remember, it was just, we got to get this done before it get hot. It felt like the immediacy was the deal for me. If it's the play that I'm thinking of, what do you have, Dan?
I don't even remember a play where they sacked him where Chris wasn't on the field, being honest. I don't remember that happening. So maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm combing through the defensive tape right now, and I'll do the rest of that tonight, get to the offense, and we'll have more confirmation, Donnie. But I like to Ryan's point, the reason they're able to do that is because they had guys put in the positions to succeed. And they've done a good job of doing that, getting off the ball, matching up their NASCAR packages without Chris Jones on the field, and being able to get guys in the right place against the right players to have that success. FAU has been very impressive. His get off is noticeable. This has been much more impressive than he was last year. You have guys like Mike Dana, who's playing at a high level. Mike Dana is playing at his career best level right now. And Derek Noddy yesterday played probably back to 2 years ago, Derek Noddy level. Like it's a whole rejuvenated group. And I think adding Chris Jones to that bumped up some of the play on the defense. They're like, we got our guy back. We can do this. I really think that makes a difference.
I agree with you as well. And there's another question coming up later that Derek Noddy directly influences. So I agree with you there. And officially, I think it was FAU got half a sack, was it?
He did get half a sack, yeah.
He got half a sack. Dana got half a sack. And then obviously George and Chris got theirs. So that's what I recall. I'd have to go back and rewatch the exact play, but we do have a number of plays to show you guys tonight. So we will get there. Donnie, thank you as always. Great question. Thanks for keeping us honest as well. From Steve, from your point of view, how long do you think that this young offense will take to gel? I want to be optimistic, but it might be the bye week. I want to say it's week 5 or 6.
I'm going to say the bye week just because I think we kind of understand. Andy Reid said in his press conference today that he likes what they have and he understands what they have. I'm going to call BS on that based off of what we've seen in the offense, okay? And I'll tell you why BS, okay? Just really quickly. All right, let's zoom in here.
Talk to me, Goose.
No, it's going backwards. There we go. Okay. I want you guys to look at this chart. What about like 17 passes behind the 5-yard line gives you confidence that Andy Reid believes that he understands what they're doing well. Patrick Mahomes' average depth of target is 5.4 yards on the year. His lowest
ever.
And his time to throw is 2.93 seconds, his highest ever. Okay? It's not much, but time to throw still. So we're seeing passes not going very far beyond the line of scrimmage and him holding on to the football. Something there is not adding up. And it's the play calls, it's the play designs, it's the trust in what's being called, and the trust in the players to be in the right spot. Okay? So sorry, Andy. I love you and I appreciate everything you've done here, but I don't believe that you absolutely know what's happening right now because the offense suggests otherwise.
Well, and let me break it down a different way. What that suggests is that time to throw is that Patrick is holding the ball to his third read, that he's not happy with what he's seeing on his initial and his secondary read. So he has to go to the third guy, if not more. And that's the problem. So as that matures and as guys get cleaner breaks or he's more comfortable with the breaks that they get, what if it is diminished separation? I know folks have been tracking the proximity to the catch and all that. I think that will change. And so we have to keep that in mind is that will speed up as well. Patrick will become more comfortable. I think Patrick's also been, let's be real, Patrick's been a little inaccurate so far in these 2 ball games. He has not been his normal self. He's always off a little bit just because he's making all these crazy platform throws, but it's been just a little bit more hit or miss is the way I would put it so far.
Yeah, I would think that that's a little more directly from the trust factor. He's seemingly trying to move a little bit more and buy some time, and that's create a little bit more inaccuracies when he's wanted to throw the ball quickly. So, but again, that's stuff that might get ironed out more. I want to see what they did with Sky Moore more. Back shoulder, that right there should be in the game plan for next week going forward. That was a beautiful touchdown throw, and it was a great adjustment on what he absolutely needed to do. That is the kind of stuff that we need to see more going forward because it works, and he's going to see some single coverage up the sideline. Whenever he's on the outside, they're going to play a little bit more man coverage or match zone where that basically puts that player on him anyway. You can get away with throwing those, especially if it's zone because he's not reading especially if it's man where he's not reading the quarterback. He doesn't know where the ball is. They need to do that, in my opinion.
I agree. And honestly, the more that you do that, there's 3 areas in the end zone that you can throw to: the front pylon, the back pylon, and the back line. That's where you saw the Jags try to go over and over and over and over, right? That's what the Chiefs will eventually do too. And that's where placement comes in handy. And it does tie into what Tyler's talking about too. What's the biggest issue you're seeing? Is it lack of separation? Is it not trusting them enough, or is it something else? And I know what I think, and it plays into both. A, they're not separating a ton. B, Patrick's not sure if they're really ready because they're not in the right spot. For me, it's a lot of depth issues that they're running a little bit differently than they have in the past. And you always hear, or if you haven't heard, go check out Sky Moore's personal YouTube channel. You guys can find it here on the platform of what Patrick was saying during their workouts in Dallas. And it's not just where you should be. It's how I want you to be, which shoulder I want you looking over, how many steps should you be, relation to the DB. It's all a fine tuning. And this time of year, I think that's still just being sought out.
Yeah, you're playing against the same defense in training camp all the time. You don't get enough reps in preseason to iron a lot of this stuff out. That's what's happening right now. This is an ironing out process. I was a little confident going into the season that they'd be able to get through that process a little faster than they are, but it's taken some time. And that's kind of a reality I think that we're in. It was brought up yesterday about how Juju was the guy last year who helped slow a transition phase for a lot of these guys because he knew where to be and he could go to him. Patrick could go to him quickly. And I don't know if he has that right now. So we're just going to have to hope that materializes as the season goes along.
Yeah, I agree. Night Hunter, thank you for your support, buddy. Is the defense 1 ahead, B right on track, or 2 right on track, 3 behind where you thought they'd be at this point in this season? Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate it. Where are you, Dan?
Oh, they are ahead of schedule. Okay. So we're going to take this point from Night because it's a super chat. Thank you very much. We're going to get into some tape for you guys. Okay.
Oh, let's do this.
I'm going to give you guys what I was talking about. Leo Chanel had his best game as a professional football player ever. Period. He was playing everywhere. He was understanding, and he was kind of being asked to do much more. So you have him. He's going to be the off-ball linebacker to your left, and he's going to absolutely run that offensive lineman into Travis Etienne. Watch him. Here he is. You guys see him. This is the best part about Leo Chanel. He is going to he's so strong. Look at him. He muscles him all the way back. Like he doesn't fail at the point of attack with the offensive lineman in the NFL. Okay. I love watching this because he bends him over backwards immediately. Okay. That's first thing. And then you're going to see here on the right side of your screen, Chanel's just moving guys. Like don't block me with a tight end. Okay. And then, you got George Karlaftis next to him fighting against another tight end, comes around, they make the tackle together. This is the kind of stuff that Leo Chanel is doing. Like yesterday, he was also asked to play defensive end. He played defensive end. They were like 3-3, 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers on the field. It was beautiful. I got a clip on Twitter. It's him rushing the passer and taking the right tackle into the lap of Trevor Lawrence. He just disposed of him into the backfield, okay? Right now, they are clicking on a lot of cylinders, and they are putting these guys in the best positions to succeed. And the reason that I am very confident they will not be adding Carlos Dunlap is because we are going to see Leo Chanel and Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and then Charles Omenihu when he comes back. I'm telling you, this defense, if line could be one of the most fun things about this entire team this season.
Yeah. I will tell you this. Willie had a couple of snaps in the same kind of configuration, overhang pass rusher. He did fine as well. Like they're going to keep moving around. I put this up because I want to show you guys just how rare this is. So this is Leo's alignment from yesterday. 12 on the D line, linebacker, that's fine. You get in the box, inside linebacker. So he's played outside, he's played inside. Curious to me, it was a little bit more on the left because I felt he played better on the right-hand side in college, but that's okay. I'm down, whatever. So you got right inside, you got left inside, you got left outside, you got right outside. Then this is my favorite part right here. And just because of the nature of that 3-3, sometimes you're going to get stuck in space. And he did. And it worked.
He got beat badly
once
by Evan Ingram.
He did
beat.
He also chased down a play to the sideline that I didn't think honestly that he was going to make. So I'll call that 50-50.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So yes,
maybe
Leo Chanel is being unlocked right now this season. Everything that I was hoping for as when he was drafted is being realized right now.
Thank you, Knight. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Mikey.
it,
and that's what we're talking about. I'm glad that Nick's all right too. As long as they can keep this up. They had a nice picture that the Chiefs media put out today too of the group. And I hate to tell you, just wait because Cam Jones is coming too. He had a couple of super hits on special teams, and I'm pretty excited about where he's going to fit into this thing going forward as well. There's a bunch there. Tyler, do you think that the Penguins last game were a snowball effect combined with the added focus on 74 or something to be greatly concerned about? I think we addressed this last night, but has anything changed for you?
I just think that it was in his head a lot. Like he was in his own head a lot. He operates best when he doesn't have to think about what's going on, but that microscope was there. The microscope was all night, and honestly, it didn't affect his performance. Juwan Taylor was good. He was really good again, especially in pass pro. He was putting guys in the dirt a couple of times. It's just that he got into his head a little bit with penalties. And I think that will settle out when the microscope goes away. It might take a week or two. You're going to have to be more patient. He's going to have to be more patient and kind of understand that that's going to happen a little bit. But I do think that inevitably it goes away.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. And this is what I was talking about earlier about run blocking is about want to. And for Juwan Taylor in particular, it's about getting down lower in his stance and actually firing on the ball. It's not something he does very well. If he can add that, I think he's going to be just fine. And I'm personally looking forward to it, but I wouldn't be worried yet, Tyler. Latrell, nice to see you. What was up with Creed snaps? He has a bit of an issue in the Super Bowl as well, maybe exhaustion due to the issue this last game. possibly, just getting a little twitchy, trying to get out. Honest, they were trying to bum rush him too. I do think that he had one of those days that a couple of things just looked a little off to me.
Yeah.
But I'll give him credit. When he had to get out in space, he did well.
Yeah.
I saw him anchor well. I didn't see him get overwhelmed. And sometimes, like, especially if you get dehydrated, it's that last 10% of your strength that you start to lose initially. Could have been that. I'm not going to get concerned until I see it repeat, though.
Yeah, I mean, these Heat games, you never really know. And I'm going to kind of give this one a grain of salt and say we'll wait and see how it happens next week.
Yeah. Jeremy, how confident are you two if the offense can get rolling, or is this just a blip?
So personally, I'm going to say that they're going to wait until about bye week time. Like, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see tightening up until then. The penalties got to stop. Like, that killed a couple of drives. Multiple drives. And that can't happen. Appreciate you, Knight. Always. Thank you guys. Please do take 2 seconds. Hit that like button while we're here. Loving it.
Please.
Loving it. And I really do think that as the season goes along and these guys are playing more, Sky's playing more snaps than he has ever played in his career, I think in his first couple of games right now, which it takes a little while to acclimate. They're rotating a bunch of weapons, and I talked about that last night too, where it's a lot of rotation, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers. They'll figure it out. They will figure it out. They'll find out what's best. They'll run it.
I have no doubt of that. I want to know what happens when the defensive coordinators make another adjustment. Is who's the guy that can then shift gears with the best of them? I think that's what they rely on Patrick for, and whoever can go along with him the best is going to have the biggest season when we get down to that stretch. I'm really thinking about December right now, like when you've pulled out a lot of the playbook, right, and like now you have to actually adjust on the fly. Who's ready to do that? It's all learning process until then. So I'm going to be all right with it.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Night Hunter. Appreciate you. Tyler, is 2022 the best Chiefs draft in history with 6 starters, 2 full-time players, and another on IR? I mean, I don't think we can say for another year or two, but it's certainly right about up there.
It is looking that way. And one of the highlights of that draft, everybody, was Trent McDuffie. This guy was just locked down everywhere, making plays. And I'm telling you what, the play that he made early in that game to get Zay Jones out of bounds is so underlooked. A lot of people are saying that, he was not in good position. I have the play slowed down on Twitter if you want to take an extra look at that. He played it perfectly. Where he's in trail initially, and then he comes up underneath Zay Jones and takes away the ability for Trevor Lawrence to throw that football into the end zone in front of Jones. He takes it away, accelerates through, looks for the ball, pushes him out of bounds. It's textbook. He's a stud. I know he didn't get the pick, and I know I called for him getting that pick, but we are watching a superstar cornerback develop in front of our eyes. He is He has a legitimate opportunity to be a shutdown corner. You don't see that very much.
Not just a CB1. No. Like a top 10 corner easily. And that's the thing is, like, people will complain because he's not the extreme man cover, stay in your hip pocket that Sauce Gardner is, right? He has to use the sideline as a tool. He has to use leverage as a tool. He can't just go out there, whip the chain around his neck and go after it, right? But he still gets it done. And that, at the end of the day, if you stop passes, that's all I could care about.
Yeah.
That is what we're going to see happen here. Everyone is talking about the defense. Imagine how much better they could be if with a menu in the lineup. And I absolutely agree with you. I thought he looked pretty good in the preseason in terms of his physicality. Let's not drop him backwards. I'm just saying.
Please, just don't do it.
But I feel like that's going to be a nice upgrade. Is the Chiefs offense struggling with execution of their own reasons, or do we see 2 really good defenses so far?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the Lions are a bad defense. The Lions are not going to be stopping any people this year at all. The problem with that game was that they switched up what they do defensively. They played a lot of zone. And the Chiefs' game plan, which we touched on last week in the film room, they weren't ready for it. They had a lot of routes running into zone. That's the make of a game plan that wasn't ready for what you saw. The Jags also don't have a great defense, and We all watched the game yesterday. They just shot themselves in the foot at least 10 times, at least. So if they get out of their own way, it's always the same story with the Chiefs. They get out of their own way, they're going to be just fine.
It's a pretty common story around here from year to year to year. Let me see if I can do this right, Cody. Is the defense good? Yeah. That's the Nate Taylor special. I'm trying to pull that off. Yeah, they're good. Can they be better than we thought? Can they be top 10? They still have a ways to go there. I'm not ready to say that, but are they better than what I was thinking, 18 to 20-ish? Yeah, they can be better than that.
I'll tell you right now, they faced 2 top 10 offenses in the NFL to start the year.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
They get the Bears and the Jets coming up in back-to-back weeks. They could legitimately, after week 4, be in conversation as a top 5 defense in the NFL if they continue this trajectory. Now, that's a little hyperbolic because they're bad offenses. They're terrible offenses with terrible offensive coordinators and not very good quarterbacks. Okay? Just remember that. But just saying, they can be talked about that way.
Come on, Zach Wilson's got his stuff together.
Okay.
Or not. Dale, what does this mean for Kelsey? Only one and on a disc? What?
A discount?
1 year on a discount? No, I wouldn't think so.
Only one on a discount now? Maybe?
So
Maybe?
Okay.
There
So
it
you're
is.
thinking that
Only one on the discount now.
Only one
Got
player on a discount at a time. Okay. Travis is at the end. Let's be real. Travis is 34. I think he could play till he's 38, maybe a touch past that. He doesn't care about getting paid. He got all the money coming out of his ears. Honestly, he's got the biggest podcast on the planet right now. So what does he care? He wants to win championships, and he wants to stay in the game with Patrick as long as he possibly can. So I'm not too worried about the contract situation with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, me either. I think that they're going to be just fine. Kelsey understands. I don't think he's worried about money anymore. I really don't. I don't think that's at the forefront of his 34-year-old years anymore. I don't think he cares.
Dude, that dude's going to make more money in TV than he ever made playing football. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, man, he's so good at podcasting, guys. It makes me, and I would imagine Ryan as well, frustrated. He picked up a microphone and it was just gold.
Yeah,
like I'm
off.
Still not great at it, and I've been doing this for like 4 years now.
And screw his brother too. I'm tired of both of you being this good at this crap. Piss me off. Now I'm in the grumpy grandpa mode. Get off my lawn. John, is Kyle Pitts available? I doubt Terry Fontenot's ever going to part ways with him. Terry Fontenot will get fired before he moves from Kyle Pitts, is my guess. But you never know.
He's not getting traded. He's not available.
Nah, I don't think so. Jesus, hope you're well. Do the Chiefs DT still worry you? They can be run on. Let's be real. Derek Notty's playing above the rim a little bit right now.
Yeah.
If he can sustain that, then great. I honestly, one of the things that I want to go back and look at the 22 this week is Turk, because I didn't see much flash, but I also didn't see him getting run out of there too much either. So it felt like kind of a just staying with the status quo to me.
Yeah, it was. He looks like he's stronger than he has been, but it feels like he's lost that quickness, which coming off of the injury isn't surprising. Excuse me. So it's going to be a ramp up period for him.
We're going to stay with Nick in the defensive line here. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you. How come Coburn didn't play yesterday? And honestly, I think that's part of the Notty's flashing right now. And I think when you looked at it, they wanted to get to the NASCAR package. I'm going to have to look at, I didn't catch the formations today. I got to go look that up. But it felt like they were in like single DT formations a lot, whether it was the 3-3 or that they were just, using NASCAR. It didn't feel like there was a lot of opportunity for double tackles. So I'm concerned about it though, Nick. That did stand out to me as well. Like I want to know, because I think that kid's going to be great, but we're going to have to follow up on it.
Yeah, I think that comes down to experience more than anything. But Dickerson ended up playing too. So I don't know. It's a thinker.
Okay. Having a great game. The Chris Jones Defensive Player of the Year hopes grow slimmer after letting 2-3 sacks slip through his ringers. His first game out there, if he plays like that against these next 5 teams, he's going to be in just fine shape. He's going to make his first bonus before the bye.
We're talking 2 offensive lines that are the worst in the NFL coming up. Chris Jones could easily have 7 sacks by the end of week 4.
Yeah.
And
his first bonus is at 10.
And again, if he does that, he's going to be right back in the Defensive Player of the Year award conversation. The problem is going to be Micah Parsons, because Micah Parsons is having himself a year, and I think he's going to have himself a year.
Who do they have next? I haven't looked.
I haven't seen who the Cowboys have next.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. James, thank you, sir. Is it me? Did I see Justin Ross on the field more than MVS yesterday? It's a good question. Okay.
Justin Ross had 9 snaps.
Okay. I was not sure because I was just looking at targets. Yeah. But MVS, I'll bet, was out there. Yeah, 55 snaps for him. Ross, 9. Although, kudos to him, he ran routes on 6 of them. So 2/3 of his snaps were route running. So, which is good for him. He needs that exposure and those reps. John, do y'all think that Drew Tranquill has been a big addition so far? Seems like he allows all the other LBs to focus on what they're doing best. He's a good leader, and he has led a number of different defenses. And honestly, I've never been happier to see a linebacker be a backup than the minute that Nick Bolton got hurt. So
yeah, you felt really comfortable going into that entire situation with him being the guy. Like, it's tough when he's there and there's nobody that can come. He can't be on the field a ton. But then you're like, oh, a little bit of an injury, and you're like, okay, yeah, I understand what's going on there. And
yeah,
but he played quite a bit yesterday too. And they're rotating their linebackers a lot. They're rotating their defensive line. They're getting their guys in really good situations. I'm telling you right now, it's impressive what they've done.
This is what happens when you build a deeper roster. When you have the things like the situations that we had to deal with, the 7 wide receivers that you have to keep. It means you can rotate through and not have huge drop-offs. Same thing with the linebackers. They kept more linebackers than they thought we were going to because they have that much talent at it. And so you can rotate through some of them. He only played 28 snaps out of 65 for Trent McDuffie, right? Actually, 66 for Justin Reed was the max. Yeah. And yet we didn't miss a beat, did we? I thought he played the run well. He did give up a couple passes that he does look a little heavier to me than he's played in years past. Drew Tranquill. So I do think that's more of a mixed role for him, whereas before he's been more of a pure coverage linebacker. So I'm not going to worry too much about the passes because he was able to hold his own and take over for Nick, like snap to snap to snap. If he had to play out that game, I would have been comfortable.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Finally saw a 3rd and short conversion with a power run. Is that something we can expect more of? Probably the best play of the game. It was the one that made me the happiest, I'll tell you that. Can we expect it? I don't trust Andy.
Well, I think the speeding up process of the snap is what we should expect more on 3rd and short. And they need to do something different to get themselves rolling. The fact that they let defenses just set up and be ready for whatever they're going to run out there is a problem. And I think that speeding up the process helped them be comfortable. They're like, we're just going to run the play. And guess what? They ran the play. There was no thinking. That was just getting it done. I think that helps get them out of their own way again.
Agreed. We're going to speed it up a little bit, folks, because, hey, I know you guys are shocked. I'm a little behind. Dan, why did you tweet about Fields now that I can think about his Mahomes with Fields in the Wildcat? Prediction for the next 6 weeks, Whiskey. Hey, yeah. Put those images in there. 6 weeks. What do you got?
Well, I don't have the schedule in front of me because I'm a terrible sidebar here, and I'm not prepared for this question.
Well, I'm going to take the next question while you check it, and then we'll come back. So Sean was saying, how wild is it that Jones was able to do that without a training camp whatsoever? And that is a very good point. He played more snaps than Drew Tranquill did at 33. Still only about half of the snaps, 50%. But if you're going to do it that way. He did have a couple of missed tackles, and I do think that was, let's see, by my count, he had 2. I guess PFF only had him at 1 missed tackle. But that is specifically due to not having training camp. I was pretty impressed that his training regime in the offseason worked. So, and back to Dan on Whiskey.
Man. So, Whiskey, the next 6 weeks are the Bears, the Jets, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Broncos again. There are 0 wins. Well, sorry, there's 1 win
0
out of
loss.
all of those teams, and it was in the first week that the Jets beat the Bills. There is collective 1 win that they have on the schedule.
You're going to hate me, but I think the Chargers give them a run anyway because the Chargers always do that, even though I think they're going to suck.
They will give them a run. I'm going to say 5-1 to err on the side of caution because I can't trust any team to go 6-0 over a stretch until I see it.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I do like that. And I like Penguins too.
Yep.
That's the way it works. Super Devil Juice, hope you're good. Would you prefer drafting a DT or an LT in the draft? I assume you mean the first round. It is going to be left tackle all the way, no matter what. Maybe 2 of them if I could get it done. And Dan's going to have to eat a penguin. I think that's pretty sure
apparently.
What we're doing here. Justin Smith, hope you're doing well. I see the Chiefs going after a receiver closer to the trade deadline. What do you think? I think that's the more plausible. And it's going to have to be somebody that can get on a deal or get some other team to part ways with them where they still pick up some of the tab. Because right now there's just no cap space. Unless they get something else done, they don't have room to add contract is the big problem. They could add like a vet min. And so maybe it's not the trade, Justin. Maybe it's that they have to wait for someone to get released. And then maybe they can do an incentive-based, vet min salary and maybe get it done that way. There are definitely some options out there. Gary, I'm really worried about the tackle positions. Right, left, what do you think? I can understand that. I'm more concerned about left right now. And I'm more concerned because I thought Wanye was going to grab the swing tackle position, and he kind of fell apart. He hit that wall in training camp, and they just don't seem as comfortable with Wanye Morris right now as they are with Prince Tega Wanogho. And Prince Tega Wanogho is not a backup caliber player in my mind. So no offense, Prince, if you see this, I'm pulling for you, but
I disagree.
Right now, that's fine. That's a significant back drop off, in my opinion.
I don't think it's a huge one from Donovan Smith at this point. I'll be very honest. He hasn't played very well in the first 2 games of the season. He's been on the ground more than I'd like to see.
I have no problem with that at all. Gary, thank you for that. I appreciate you. And Alex, thank you. 13 months, one of the memberships.
Appreciate it.
You members that are rookies or above, you get in the Discord, you get the extra content. Today, you should have got the link in a community post for my game notes. Should be easily downloadable. If anybody has any problems, please let me know. Ping me at the site through the community tab or through rgrpodcasts@gmail.com and let me know. But I would love a sneaky trade for Mike Evans. I think that would be wonderful to see in this offense too. I just have no concept how they could fit it on there unless Buccaneers pay his salary except for like $2 million. That's literally all that they could try to pull off.
Yeah, I agree.
Be kind of interesting though. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, right. Theoretical. Will the Chiefs re-sign Snead? I'm going to be the bad guy on this one. Right now, it feels like no. It feels like no to me.
I don't disagree. Again, I brought it up as possible trade, and that's not out of the realm of possibilities. Okay, he could be a tag and trade candidate. Let's say that the Chiefs are able to get a deal done with Chris Jones. L'Jarius Sneed becomes the tag guy. He does. He absolutely does. And in that situation, you look at your cornerback room. You're like, we feel pretty good about these guys. Especially if L'Jarius is asking for more than they can kind of part with at this point. That seems like what could happen.
I'm not going to argue with you in any way, shape, or form. Jayhawk, thank you, sir. What is the thing that Tranquil wears around his neck? Some sort of support. Yeah, it's like the old school bands that keep you from overextending your neck. He has had a couple of issues. One I wanted to say, was it a clavicle? Or an AC joint, I think. And so over neck extension can aggravate that. So you try to give him a little support at the back. Helmet hits it, and you don't overextend. It's not pretty, but hey.
I'll go with you.
Yeah, thanks, Jayhawk. Appreciate you. Okay, Justin, back with the hypotheticals. If the Vikings keep losing, how realistic would a Jefferson trade be? It's not, my friend. It's just not. Again, that would get a GM fired. to lose him. It's more likely that you get Pitts out of Atlanta than you get Jefferson out of Minnesota.
Yeah,
I'll just
I
put it that
will
way.
agree with that.
All these options I love, but it would literally lose people jobs in the front offices. Right. Oh, if Spags typically comes on in the second half, what could be do even better to take what they're doing to the next level? They're carrying the team right now. I mean, yeah, bro, you could get the safety not to bite on double moves. You could you could take better angles from the deep half. I'll say that. Mike Edwards, excuse me, and even my guy Cook didn't take the best jumps on a couple of plays from what I saw. Now I haven't watched the whole 22, Dan. You're probably ahead of me on that by quite a bit.
There's some issues that he's had from seeing things that he has to see, especially if you're playing off zone and you have a receiver running, just a little slant route into your zone. You have to see these things, and he's a second late on them. So it's going to be still an adjustment process, but that's the week 2 still, and they're playing really well. So and we have to just kind of let some of this unfold and then just kind of wait and see with it, honestly.
And I will say this, Brian was more of a box safety in college than he was a free like field general.
Yeah.
That's an adjustment for him. I think he'll get there. I have confidence. Tyler, CJ Happy tweeted at Pat. You think that Veach and Co. lets him know that this is coming so he doesn't get super PO'd when he caves and they splash cash a week later? I don't. I think what Chris understands, and let me see if I can pull it up, and I'll give you my visual interpretation as well, because I'm always better visually. What this says to me on repeat is very, 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 very on point. Like that is on the nose. It wasn't just like he was trying to say something, right?
Exactly.
What's repetitions in Patrick Mahomes' contract? That he can rework year to year to year and give up cap space.
I don't think this had anything to do with the contract. I think that it was very literal, because Chris Jones tweets out, "Thank you, God," all the time. Literally all the time. I think this is just him tweeting on repeat because he just, that's just him.
I take it a little bit more literally, because if Patrick can do this and give up cap space again, that's cap space for Chris. That's the way that I interpret that.
Okay.
So maybe I don't pay enough attention to what Chris tweets enough, but this one caught my eye anyway. So I can't say that I am the all-knowing Twitter guy or whatever it used to be called Twitter. Shut up, X. I don't care. With this happening, do you see the Chiefs signing Humphrey, Smith, and Bolton long term?
You got yourselves 2 of them. Yeah, I was about to say, you got yourselves 2 of them. And I'm going to tell you who the 2 of them are right now. It's Creed Humphrey and it's Nick Bolton. That's who it is. It's not Trey Smith. Because I'll be honest with you, I love what Trey Smith has done, his deal is not going to be very expensive either. We have to remember that. His deal is not going to be expensive. I do think that you're going to get both, and you might be able to get, I'll walk it back. You might be able to get all 3. Trey Smith is not a Pro Bowl guard. He's not. And you might be able to get him at a discount.
Well, and let's be real. What are the 3, other than the fullback, what are the 3 cheapest positions on a football roster? The center, the guard, and the middle linebacker.
Look at that.
So,
maybe all 3.
You got to hope. Those guys are going to have to be in tune to what else is going on. They're all going to have to be willing to work to get each other back. It feels like that's a possibility to me, though.
Yeah.
Justin had another one. Justin had another one with the receiver problem. Why is Justin Ross not getting more playing time? Also, Justin Watson seems like a guy that they could come on more and more. And that's like, I felt like they were trying to go to Watson more. That's what I felt like they were going to do. They didn't quite get it done. The reason Ross isn't playing more is because he doesn't know exactly where to be yet. That's just the God's honest truth. You have experienced players like Richie James not running routes correctly. You have Patrick holding on to the ball because he's not liking what he's seeing yet. And I just think Ross is farther behind that curve than we care to admit, to tell you the truth.
It's the unfortunate part that I get he made the roster, and Andy Reid even said he's going to have packages for Ross. But packages tells you the kind of player that they see him as, somebody who needs to have a limited tree, a limited usage. And that's
Yeah.
what Justin Ross is at this point.
Narrow window. And that's okay. That window can grow.
Yeah.
Logan, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. PM15 got his raise. Here's yours. Appreciate it. I have to say that I was at the game and I'm redder than your background. Wow. Okay. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, that Florida sun will get you, bro. Dang.
Hopefully you got some nice aloe vera to rub on your face and then heal up, my friend.
Yeah, right. Get you a straw and go underwater for a while. Dang. Ninjamura, thank you. Appreciate you. Do you think that Chris Jones holding out improved Spags' approach as a DC, or is he doing the same things and getting better results? It's an interesting question. Did it force like Ryan Reynolds? Did it force a transformation in Steve Spagnuolo by putting him under stress?
I wouldn't necessarily say so, but I did think that they had to get creative a little bit to replicate what Chris Jones brings. And I really do think that Joe Cullen has helped bring out that creativity. And if sometimes you get stagnant as a defensive as a coach, as we all get stagnant in what we like to do, and sometimes in an injection of somebody who's, let's be honest, as experienced and creative in his own right, and Joe Cullen can come in and they hit it off. There's a lot of younger coaches underneath Steve Spagnuolo for the defensive backs, for the linebackers, and for the defensive line. All of them were relatively younger, and Cullen brings an experience to this and creativity that I think Spags likes as well, because he likes to get creative with his blitzes and his defensive backs and everything. Joe Cullen's helped out on the other opposite side too. So it's honestly just their ability to draw this whole defense up with the guys that they have. They're comfortable with their guys.
And I think it's recognizing their skill set as well. And kudos to Dave Merritt. The one older guy on that roster of coaches is certainly willing to experiment and get crazy. So I think that kind of feeds into Spags a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Always foster the crazy, I say. Whiskey, thank you. First super chat failed. Oh, sorry, buddy. Thanks for guys. Appreciate your insights and knowledge. Can the defense reach top 5/10? I mean, we're trying not to be giddy optimistic, but Dan thinks in this next 4-game stretch that can actually happen. And if you take it on the year, if Joe Burrow does not recover, like that's a significant game down the line that you're not as worried about, right? If Josh Allen continues to regress to his pre-NFL tendencies, that's another game where maybe you're not as concerned. So could it possibly happen? I think 10 could be, it's probably the upper limit, but I think it could happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. Whiskey, I appreciate the super chat and everything, but I don't try to speak hyperbolic too much. I do think that they're going to be talked about relatively highly. If you guys haven't listened to the Athletic Football Show podcast, they talk about the Chiefs defense has their attention. Robert Mays and Nate Tice talk about this defense with Chris Jones back in the fold has their attention. So we know that it's possible in the next couple of weeks that they are talked about in that same breath.
Yeah, I think it could certainly happen. Darius, thank you, buddy. And thank you, Whiskey, as always. Why can't we feed Rice the way that the Rams feed Nakua? Is it talent disparity, or would targeting Wood Guy be that much of a bad idea? It's not that it's a bad idea. He isn't the same. Like, I think Nakua breaks better. I think he gets more separation off the initial cut. And I think that makes McVay more comfortable. I don't think Andy and Patrick want to do that if they had to. Otherwise, they wouldn't have all this talent, right? If they were comfortable having 3 wide receivers and just feeding them, I think they would. I think they really want this, like, spread it all out.
It's a tough situation. Like, the Rams have nobody. They have nobody else. McVay is a fantastic offensive mind too. They have funnel targets to Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell the first couple of weeks. Okay, they got nobody else. There's nobody else on that roster that can do anything. And Puka was a player that I liked coming out, but I didn't think he was worthy of a day 2 pick. And we have to also remember that, yes, the 49ers are a very good defense. A very good defense. Sean McVay sees these guys twice a year.
Yep.
for his entire coaching career. He's seen the Seahawks, who he's decimated. Their defense he has destroyed in their upcoming season. He didn't even really need a game plan for that game. So he had all offseason to game plan for the 49ers defense. And then the week after he saw, I'm going to hold back a little bit on the production. I think that Puka's a very good player. I think he's going to be an excellent player in LA, specifically for what they're opening him up for.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that they've had a little bit of familiarity with the defenses that they're playing.
I agree. And let's see how that longevity goes. Film hurts everybody. By week 4, you got enough to dissect somebody. So I want to see what happens next. Darius, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Terry, why won't Andy let his receivers play more? They can't learn from the sideline. They have to be on the field. True. You got to move the ball, though. And they've had enough 3 and outs here in the last 2 weeks to make me be comfortable for the year. So they got to learn, yes, but they got to learn to get it done in a ball game. If they're not getting it done, you got to do something else. I agree. And if Leo does emerge, would you rather have Tranquil or Gay back next year? And do you think we keep them all? With Bolton, it may be a lot of money. Bolton will definitely get paid. Tranquil's not that expensive. What is he, 7 against the cap?
Yeah, I think so. It's a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I think you can get both he and Willie back. Willie's not going to garner much on the open market. He has not been able to perform well enough to get himself like a big multi-year contract. So
he's also had some injury nicks and a suspension on his record too. Like that's stuff that is all takes into account.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I think all 3, the trifecta is possible. Longmorn, thank you, sir.
Longmorn.
Nice to 31. See you. 31 months a member. Check out my notes and see what you think. I appreciate you. I think this defense could be scary good. Yeah, I am 100% with you. I think that it could be fun. And as somebody who likes to watch defense, I'm kind of excited. Where do you think Patrick Head is at? The interception seemed like it was out of frustration. And on the second half checkdowns, his body language seemed to me like he was giving up. I didn't read it that way. What did you take away from it, Dan?
We kind of talked about the interception last night, and he threw an open receiver who he was unable to step into. Like he got pressure, he got hit right as he let the ball go. And you and I both agree, if he were able to step into that, that's a touchdown. 100%.
Yeah.
Nice, sweetie.
And then let's give credit where credit's due. That was a nice adjustment by Cisco to get over and get there.
Yeah, it was. That's range, man. That's good range.
Yeah. He's not all just hits. I like the kid coming out. I kind of wanted to see him in Kansas City, to tell you the truth. So why don't we have more designed runs for 10? Well, because this is a zone-based team. They don't design them so much as they see who's got the best matchup and let him pick the hole. It's kind of what the zone's about. So
yeah,
I like the power scheme. I think in the modern NFL, I think you have to have both. And I think they just get away from themselves. Like Andy ran that first drive of the second half, and then he just went, start chucking it again.
Yeah, like I said, it was like they had 5 or 6 runs in the first half. Like that's that's how I feel about that.
Thank you, Nijimura. Thank you, Whiskey. Appreciate you both. How would you guys change the offensive fumble out of the end zone rule? I don't recall it off the top of my head. Just if you fumble out, it's a touchback. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it goes with the opposite team. It's just given to the defense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you fix it. I'm not sure how you change it. I don't know if there's a better way to like make it better than it is now. Because should you reward a team for fumbling the ball out of bounds in the end zone? Should you reward that offense for doing that? No. Should you give them it back where it was fumbled? No. Should you maybe give it to the offense on the 5-yard line? Or the defense, the defensive team on the 5-yard line? I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. It's bad.
Right.
I don't know how to fix it, though.
I mean, maybe it's as simple as erasing the play.
I think that's even worse.
Yeah, it'll probably lead to a bunch of gimmicks and BS. So
yeah, people will try some crazy stuff. Just I don't know.
I know I would.
Yeah.
James, where did you guys have Puka Nacua in the class? I have to go look at my board, which I'm going to try to do right now.
I believe I had him as a 4th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, though. I don't remember where I ended up.
Find out because my board is here somewhere. I will show you guys this. So if you want to participate, you are more than welcome. This is NFL 33, where you can get all of our non-Chiefs information. If my board will load, it would be great. It's just an image. It's not that difficult. Good
it's
Lord.
Not there.
Okay, so something's gone terribly wrong. I'm going to back up for just a second because maybe I clicked the wrong link. But let's see. My notes started on him when we were in Mobile, I want to say.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, here we go. So let me blow this up. We'll see where I had him. Dan, yours is on there too, isn't it?
It should be.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't mean to just go with mine, but
that's fine.
Where did I have him? I swear I had him on here. I did. I had him in the 6th. You know, it could be worse.
Could be worse.
So I had him in there with Mitchell Tinsley, Jarrett, Elijah Higgins, who I still like, by the way. Behind Butte and Wicks. But yeah, this is a function of him being fed as much as it is anything else. This is where we come in when we talk draft and we're like, it depends where a guy lands. This is certainly a situation where it depends where he landed.
Yeah, and they haven't even used his best attributes either, in my opinion. Like they don't.
Right.
He wasn't the best route runner. He wasn't the best separator, but he's being schemed into space and being asked to do what he does well. After the catch is being a little more physical. He's not like a great make you miss guy, but he can run guys over and then he can go get the ball in the air. Like he's a fantastic adjustment catcher and through contact and things like that. So I'm interested to see what they do when Cooper Kupp comes back, honestly.
Yeah, I am too. If Cooper comes back, I'm a little worried about him. Scott, thank you. Last call for super chats, you guys. Now the smoke is clear from week 2. What should the Chiefs be afraid of the most? Dolphins, Ravens, Bills, Browns, Bengals. I don't know. Are you leaning towards the porpoises?
I think right now the Dolphins are the clear most dangerous team out of that group, and then it would be Ravens, and then I would have the Browns over the Bills because of their defense. And I mean, it's tough right now. Like it's week 2. We'll see a lot how this shakes out, but I think the Dolphins are the front runner of that group, to be honest.
I don't know. I got to tell you, I might even put the Browns above the Ravens right now.
I wouldn't. Lamar in that offense is a lot of fun, and I think that he's excellent.
It's fun. I just don't know if it's sustainable, and I don't know if it's going to win you anything in January. That's where I'm at, but that's all right. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you. We're going to wrap it up here with the last couple questions, folks. We're going to get Dan out the door to do his dad duties. Thank you. If you guys do want to check out any of our sponsors, please do. We certainly appreciate it, and so will they, because honestly, that's how the world goes around, is helping everything out. It's down here at DraftKings, and use our code RGR. That would certainly help. We appreciate you. But Clinton was asking, I'm ready to move MVS out of wide receiver 1 and let Justin Watson eat at that spot while the other receivers get their chances elsewhere. What's your thought? I mean, I don't even know that I call him wide receiver 1. So I see where you're coming from, sure. And I do think Justin can play the X. I don't know. Are you ready to sit him a bit, Dan, or what do you think?
No, I mean, I think one of the reasons that you're seeing Justin Watson doing what he's doing is because MVS is on the other side of the field, drawing some defensive attention. And if you have Watson in that spot, he's not getting open. Instead, he's the guy that's being asked to draw attention downfield. So it's just more of a mesh system. You got to figure out what works best, and they know that Watson and MVS can help garner attention down the field so they can open up the intermediate and the short areas of the field.
Agreed. Thanks, Clinton. And 900. Yeah, every now and then I have those moments, you got to get it done. There was definitely a target put on Juwan post-opening game. It was a point to fix this. If you watch the couple touchdown plays from the Eagles, it's very prevalent. Check with the Smith TD. Why? Because Lane Johnson isn't making a big stink out of it.
Yeah.
mean, bottom line is if you're going to push the edge of something, don't call attention to it. Fly under the radar. It has a tendency to work better. Lev, on a scale of guy to dude, how dude is Mike Dana becoming? I don't know what's in between.
So you've got a guy, you've got what? I don't need. I think
bruh. Guy, bruh, bohemian, dude.
I think a step down from dude is guy. Like, he's a guy, right? Like, that makes sense to me. I don't know. Call him a brosif at this point.
Brosif. Okay, I like that one. I missed those commercials, I gotta tell you. Oh man, Justin, just want to give you guys a shout out for always listening to you guys. Well, thanks, Justin. I appreciate it. Always have some common sense and aren't some hot take guys. Yeah, that's true. Way better than the guys on the radio. Appreciate that. We have a different goal. We're trying to have a real conversation and explain some of where we come from in terms of football experience. Guys on the radio are just trying to make you tune in. You know what I mean? So, and Holly agrees. Bruh is the one there. So we're going to call it a night. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. For every super chatter, every new member, we very much appreciate you. If you did join, you get in the Discord by connecting your YouTube account to your Discord account. So make sure you join it at that rookie level. That's where it all kicks in. You get the videos and everything else. And you get that message so you can see my game notes. If you missed that, let me know and I can repost it to all the new members as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your time, Dan. Great work. I'm eagerly anticipating the film breakdown this week.
Oh yeah, I got a nice drive. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun with this one. I had a lot of fun watching it, so I think it should be a lot of fun to break down, and we'll see how this goes. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it.
I certainly am. You guys have a great week. We'll be back tomorrow. Seth will be in here, and we will go from there as we always do. Enjoy Monday Night Football. I'm going to. We'll talk to you then.